Hey there everybody, and welcome back to Functional Running Therapy. Now today we're going to talk about hamstrings, these big muscles at the back of our legs that seem pretty prone to picking up little tears and niggling injuries that can keep you out of running and playing sport for any number of weeks. Alright, now if I'm being honest, they just shouldn't happen. There's no reason for you to pick up a hamstring injury. Alright, especially one that's based on non-contact sports, alright, or based on a non-contact event like sprinting or running. You just shouldn't get them. So what we're going to look at today is kind of take you through a sequence and look at how we can functionally condition our hamstrings, kind of wake up your nervous system, get a bit of a mind and body connection, and kind of better prepare your hamstrings for the demands that they have to go to when we're out and we're running, when we're playing sport, we're changing direction, and we're going into kind of high-end sprinting as well. So we're going to look at, as said in the email and as we discussed yesterday, we're going to look at that eccentric loading. Okay, so what happens when your foot hits the floor? Our hamstrings, they control flexion at the hip, that's this motion, and they actually control flexion of the knee. Alright, there's not much point doing the gait cycle of running or sprinting where your hamstrings have to work to do that. Okay, gravity will do that, and actually it's the role of your hip flexors bringing your leg through that creates flexion in the knee. The hamstrings don't really create flexion in the knee when they run. So what they do is they kind of slow this hip flexion when your foot hits the floor, and then they actually initiate hip extension, which brings about knee extension to drive you forward and allow you to start the swing phase on the opposite leg. So, as I mentioned yesterday in the email, because of the role they have on slowing down hip flexion, the hip flexion slows down knee and ankle flexion, and then they contract to initiate hip extension, which brings about knee extension and ankle extension. So, at no point in the running gait cycle do our hamstrings flex our knee. Alright, it just doesn't happen. Gravity will do all the knee flexion that you ever need when you run. So, with that in mind, we need to get you guys away from doing stuff with your heels and the stability ball and pulling it in towards you, working your hamstrings on those stupid leg curl machines that you see in the gym. Massive waste of money and floor space, if you ask me. And we're going to look at how well they lengthen through the hip and actually how well they control and slow down knee flexion when your foot hits the floor, to allow us to explode forward and work with the quads and the glutes, the hip flexors and everything else. Alright, so we're not going to be isolating them at any point. We're going to be showing you how to get them working with their friends to create good, powerful and efficient running. I hope you enjoy the video, and as usual, please let me know how you get on with the exercises. Okay guys, so we're going to get one of the most useful pieces of kit that I use for rehab, especially for the hamstring injury, the chair. The reason I like chairs is because everybody has like a dining chair or something at home, and it's using one of these, I can send people away and they can recreate the exercises exactly how I want them to at home and here. So common chair is a phenomenal piece of kit. So what we're going to do to start off with, we're going to use the back. Alright, and we're going to position ourselves 1 foot forward. So let's use my left foot so you can see it a little easier. Alright, so we're going to have my left foot slightly forward. And remember those hip tucks that we did? Where you're just tucking your tailbone between your legs and then pushing your bum out. Now we're going to work on the bum pushing out, okay? And we're going to tuck under and push out. And we're just going to go both hands on the chair. And that is literally all we're going to do. Alright? And what you should find is when you push your bum out and you get that arch in your back, you'll start to feel a nice big stretch in your hamstrings. Alright? And what this does as well, it starts kind of allowing you to switch your nervous system on, get your core and your abs engaged a bit. And it also just allows you to kind of feel how that flexion of your hips kind of influences the hamstring as well. So we get a bit of a mind-body connection here with this one. Alright, so we're just going to do another 10 seconds. We're going to do about 30 seconds on each leg. Okay, we're going to swap sides. All we're going to do is just put one forward and I'm putting a little bit of pressure on the back of the chair just to support my upper body, that's it. So again, we keep your knee fairly straight, just going through that tilting motion through our hips. Just very subtle, very small movement. And another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so that's the first exercise, and it's just to start our mind-body connection into our hamstrings. We're going to use the chair again, and we're just going to move to the front of the chair. And we're going to start with our knee bent about 45 degrees, and we're just going to put hands on our chest, and we're going to use our hip. So the movement we're going to get is a straightening of our leg that's driven from pushing our bum backwards. Okay, we're going to go through a couple of functional tweaks on this one. So we're going to start with our foot pointing forward. We're going to go hands across our chest. We're going to try and keep our shoulders back, and we're just going to drive our bum backwards. So we start to feel a stretch in your hamstrings. You're going to push back until you feel that pull in your hamstring, and we're just going to come back. Okay, so at no point we're going to hold the stretch. We're going to take it back, come straight back, take it back, come straight back. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to start to get into the medial hamstrings, semi-tendinosus, semi-membranosus. Remember from yesterday's email? And we're just going to turn our foot out. Okay? And all we're going to do, exactly the same motion. All we're doing is just biasing external rotation to target the medial hamstrings. Okay? We're going to do one more. And we're just going to turn our foot in this time, alright? So we're still in the process of just working slight resistance into the muscle, just to wake them up. Start getting the blood flow, start to make them a bit more pliable for the next few exercises we're about to do. Okay, we're just going to go to the other leg. Just going to be foot up. We're just going to do about 20 to 30 seconds in each position. And we're going to go foot turned in. Again, try and keep your shoulders back. And you're working through those hips by pushing your bum up. Okay, let's go. Foot turned out this time. We're driving it backwards. Working through those hamstrings. Okay, so that's our exercise. Give that one a go. If you're feeling really tight, you might want to spend a little bit more time on this one until you start to feel your hamstring just release off. Okay, so for the next exercise we're going to do, we're actually going to be working on my right leg. So my right leg is going to be staying still. Okay, and we're going to use the left leg and the chair just to give us a bit of balance to help us drive motion through our hips and down into our right hamstring. Okay, so the chair is going to be there just to help us keep a bit of balance so we can get a bit more pace and a bit more motion through this hamstring. Okay, so you don't have to use the chair, but it just helps us with a bit of balance. So all we're going to do, we're going to take our left knee, take it nice and high, and then we're going to take it back, and I just want you to reach, touch the chair with your left hand. Again, we're going to keep our shoulders back, use the drive of the left leg to initiate a stretch through the hamstring. We're going to keep our knee just slightly bent. And one more, and then what we might do, you can bias foot turned in or foot turned out. Alright, so we'll just give you a couple of goes foot turned in, and we're just going to be loading the outer part of your hamstring now, and it's going to get your glutes a wee bit more. And then we're going to go foot turned out to get our medial part of your hamstring, exactly the same motion. Reach coming up with that left leg, taking your knee high in front and working through that hamstring. Obviously you repeat it on the left leg with your right hand going forward. So this time we take the right hand, reach forward, and all we're using the chair for is just a little bit of stability, and we go through a foot turned in, foot turned out as well. So there you go, that's the next one, and I want you to spend about 20-30 seconds in each foot push. Okay, so for the last exercise, we're going to take it into a lunge, but we're going to add a reach in. Okay, so lunging, one of my favorite exercises for running conditioning, but we can really bias the hamstrings and the glutes and basically all of our posterior chain by just adding a low reach. And we're going to do a couple of variations for you, okay? So we're going to go down with two hands, then we're going to go down with the same hand, and then we're going to go down with the opposite hand. So we'll just work just on the left leg for now, okay? So we're going to lunge, allow our knee to come forward, so I want you to get a good bit of knee flexion, and we're just going to reach. With two hands, we do one more. Okay, now I'm going to reach down with just the left hand, and I'm going to reach slightly into the middle of my stance. We're going to bias medial hamstrings again, the ones on the inside. Okay, now I'm going to reach with my right hand, and this one we're going to work lateral hamstring, our bicep femoris, and we're going to work our glute complex as well, because remember, they're good friends of hamstring, they help it out a lot. So stick to the right leg. And we're going to reach down. Whoop. A little bit of misbalance is okay. One more. We're going to reach down with the same hand, the right hand, into the inside. Two more. And we're going to go last four, reaching down with the left hand to get the glutes and that out the hamstring. So give those a go, doing that daily for a couple of weeks, and it's going to give you great hamstring function and really help bulletproof you against picking up those hamstring injuries. Hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, let us know how you get on.